CARICOM and the regional private sector organization signed MOU to push CSME implementation. CARICOM Secretary General welcomes project focusing on climate change and health. CARICOM joins Globe in observing World AIDS Day. And LIAT returns to the skies. These and other stories are in this week's edition of the CARICOM News Time. I'm Tusanki English Francis. Thank you for joining us. The full participation of stakeholders, including the private sector, labor, and civil society, is essential for the success of the CARICOM single market and economy, the CSME, says CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRock. He said so as he signed a Memorandum of Understanding on the 3rd of December with the CARICOM Private Sector Organization, which was recently accorded the status of a CARICOM Associate Institution. The MOU aims to secure cooperation between the community and the private sector towards the full implementation of the CSME.
The treaty provides a framework, a legal and administrative framework to create a single market and economy. But it is the stakeholders who will make it a reality. The private sector who will be able to take advantage of it to the extent that we provide the means for which they can do so. It is our citizens who can take advantage of it in terms of the free movement of skills. And that would include, of course, our labor partners and other stakeholders. We've always known that for the CSME to be a success, we need an arrangement of inclusion with the private sector. I have been on public record saying so.
The Secretary General praised the political impetus and direction of Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who is laid head of government with responsibility for the CSME, as well as Mr. Gervais Warner, chairman of the CARICOM Private Sector Organization, who signed the MOU. Mr. Warner says the action that the MOU will set in motion will place the community on a path of accelerated development through the CSME.
Uncontroversial though the text of the MOU may be, it is, however, important that the parties, as well as those representatives who will be charged with the responsibility to implement the MOU, are thoroughly proficient in the new rules established in the MOU, if we are to avoid any unnecessary differences arising in the course of our work together. We are confident that the goodwill that has been engendered in the cooperation fostered and the resources applied to the fulfillment of the objective of the MOU, we believe set us unmistakably on the path of accelerated development for our region, and in particular towards the achievement of the goal of full implementation of the CSME.
Engagement with the organization has begun, and it is already on some regional committees, including those focusing on e-commerce, the Regional Food Security Plan, the Common External Tariff, and the Rules of Origin Review. The organization has submitted a plan for the reduction of the region's significant food import bill, which the Secretary General says forms a blueprint and should be urgently transformed to an implementable plan of action. It has also submitted a risk assessment for the safe reopening of the regional economies during this difficult time of COVID-19. The CPSO has observer status on the organs and bodies of the community when they meet on matters of the CSME. Please check our YouTube channel for the full signing. CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRock says CARICOM member states must have access to concessional development financing to respond to climate change that threatens the very existence of the region. Such financing should be based on the Universal Vulnerability Index that measures the exposure of populations to hazards, he says. He made the recommendations during his remarks at the launch of a broad-based project to support actions to mitigate climate change and its serious health impacts in Caribbean nations. The EU CARIFORUM Strengthening Climate Resilient Health Systems project is a joint project of the European Union and CARICOM that the Pan American Health Organization is coordinating. It will advance public understanding of climate change effects and strengthen the ability of health systems to respond to climate-related health impacts. The Secretary General traced the impacts of climate change on the region, highlighting health and mental health challenges, disruption of agricultural production, and the ripple effect of food shortages and job losses.
The WHO says that between 2030 and 2050, climate change is expected to cause approximately 250,000 additional deaths per year from malnutrition, malaria, diarrhea, and heat stress. The direct damage cost to health is estimated to be between 2 to 4 billion US dollars per year by 2030. Tellingly, areas with weak health infrastructure, mostly in developing countries, will be the least able to cope without assistance to prepare and respond. It is therefore critical that our member states have access to concessional development financing based on a universal vulnerability index. Within our region, the impact has the potential not only to affect the quality and delivery capacity of health services, but also affects other development factors, such as labor productivity, and more importantly, the overall health and well-being of our citizens.
All CARICOM member states except Montserrat will benefit from the project. CARICOM institutions and associate institutions are also involved in the implementation. LIAT returned to the skies with its first commercial flight on the 30th of November, taking off from VC Bird International Airport in Antigua and Barbuda. This is the airline's first flight following a 7-month absence. Under a limited schedule, the airline will operate flights 5 days a week to 7 destinations across its network. LIAT is currently under administration as it is being restructured. A day after LIAT returned to the skies, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis announced that it has decided to cancel the $11 million debt that LIAT owes the Federation. St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris says the debt relief was made following a request by the liquidator. He says the decision considered the ill health of the regional carrier and also reaffirmed St. Kitts and Nevis's commitment to regional integration and regional travel. CARICOM joined the globe in observing World AIDS Day on the 1st of December. The theme of the observance this year was Global Solidarity, Shared Responsibility. CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque said in the current scenario confronting the world, the HIV response in the region must not be halted.
The HIV response must be maintained and actions to respond to HIV must be accelerated. Eliminating stigma and discrimination, putting people at the center, and grounding our responses in human rights and gender-responsive approaches are crucial to ending the pandemic of COVID-19 and the epidemic of HIV/AIDS. The theme of global solidarity and shared responsibility highlights the need for all of us to show support for people living with HIV. Solidarity, collaboration, support, and individual action are all needed if we are to end the epidemic.
Dr. Rosamond Adams, director of the Pan-Caribbean Partnership Against HIV and AIDS, PANCAP, says COVID-19 had thrown the national AIDS programs and civil society into circumstances that demand their best.
Our region has responded to the global pandemic with cooperation, unity, and innovation, which ensured the continuity of HIV services and better health outcomes for people living with HIV.
In observance of the day, PANCAP and the CARICOM Secretariat donated food items and other essentials to the National AIDS Program, Guyana Food Bank for people living with and affected by HIV. Barbados celebrated its 54th independence anniversary on the 30th of November under the theme, Standing Together, Renewing Hope. Joining the people of Barbados in celebrating the milestone, CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin LaRocque praised Barbados' commitment to strengthening regional integration. He also expressed the community's appreciation to Prime Minister Mia Mottley for her leadership role as chair of CARICOM in the first half of 2020, as well as in her capacity as lead head of government in the CARICOM Quasi-Cabinet for matters related to the CARICOM single market and economy. For more stories, you can visit the CARICOM news site at today.caricom.org or the CARICOM website at caricom.org. Like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Be safe and see you next time.